Oh, that's a good one. I'd probably have to go with Pacquiao. I love Nas. You know, he's a massive puncher. He'd punch you. If he hits you, you're out. And if he hit Pacquiao, Pacquiao's going out. But Pacquiao was a good boxer. So I look at the Barrera fight with Nas. You know, he sort of nullified everything. But obviously Nas, whether he was 100% fit for that fight, it's good. Nas had the equalizer for everybody. At a certain time, Nas, he catches you, but Pacquiao, southpaw, fast stance, big puncher, yeah, probably just edge with Pacquiao. Yeah, Pacquiao.
Nas. You have to go Nas. Bad breed, bad man.
I've grown up being the biggest Prince fan. I've grown up being the biggest Prince fan. And I'm glad you pointed that out. I hate when people, they degrade Nassim because of one fight.
Absolutely.
Fight. They forget everything that he's done. And then people also forget too that Prince Nassim actually called out. You know, he called it in his era. He called out all the top champions.
Everyone.
All those champions at the time, they didn't want to fight him. But if we're going back around that time, I would have to say Prince Nassim because I believe Manny Pacquiao got better in terms like in like mid, even now his career. You know, like from basically the Manny Pacquiao of maybe the later on early 2000s Manny Pacquiao compared to a Nassim. That's when Manny Pacquiao started really flourishing because we've seen Manny Pacquiao outboxed by guys like Eric Morales in his first fight, but it wasn't until then when Manny started changing up his game when he got better. But Prince Nassim was another guy. He's unpredictable. He had power on both hands, and he could box.
Manny Pacquiao, because he's again, you know, these are icons of the sport. You know, Prince Naseem is a legend also in British boxing, but Manny Pacquiao, he's fought them all, and he's fought Marquez, Mayweather, you know, Margarito. The list goes on and on and on, and he's beat them all. So he's a true champion, and I believe he comes through that fight as well.
Solely depends on what Nassim. If it's the same Nassim Hamed who turned up to fight Marco Antonio Barrera, I'd say it would be Manny Pacquiao. But if it's the same Manny Pacquiao that turned up against Marquez the fourth time when he got chinned, then I'd say Naseem Hamed. I'm a massive Naseem Hamed fan. I know Manny Pacquiao's style is all wrong for Naseem, but although I've seen Pacquiao numerous times beating Miguel Cotto, Oscar De La Hoya, much bigger guys than himself, I've always had a soft spot for Prince Naseem Hamed, so I'll always back Prince Naseem Hamed. That screw right uppercut, scraping the floor. You know, I've got to go with him. He was one of my big idols growing up, so I'm backing Prince Naseem Hamed.
See, I like Nas, but I just think that Manny Pacquiao just was something else. How he beat down Barrera, made him look amateur. I mean, just gave him a good beat down, and you see what Barrera did to Naseem Hamed at that time as well. So I just favour Manny Pacquiao because I just find Manny just had all the he had all the tools. Manny had that, especially when he was a featherweight. He had the power, he had the strength, he had the speed. You see now, if he was fighting someone like Nas is a little bit more patient, throwing them long uppercuts and long shots. But I think Manny would have just been in and out, bang, 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 and just very hard to time, you know, with one big shot.
I would say Pacquiao. Pacquiao for me is what a fighter, an all-time great. Like what he's done in this sport and he still continues to do is baffling. He was beating so many big names and as a featherweight, like huge names. When the Prince, who was an amazing fighter, really took a real step up against Barrera. Not that he was found out, but he was beaten convincingly. You have to say Pacquiao.
Pacquiao. Prince Naseem punched hard though, but man, Pacquiao, when he was like in his prime, it was hard for anybody to beat Pacquiao. Pacquiao was beating up bigger guys all the time, so and knocking them out. So Pacquiao.
At that weight, I'd say Prince Naseem. He was banging people out at that weight. Awkward. I'd give it to Prince Naseem. That would be a fight I'd love to watch. I can only imagine what it was like watching Prince Naseem back in the 90s with all his, all his charisma and showboating, winding his opponents up.
Manny Pacquiao. Although I do like Prince Naseem, big fan of him, but Manny Pacquiao. Just the gaps and the holes and fundamental flaws that Naz left, I think that Manny Pacquiao would have exploited. But someone that punches like Naz, he could change a fight like that. So he's always in a fight. But if I had a gun to my head, I'd say Manny Pacquiao.
Just with the speed and the relentless pressure and combination punching and coming at different angles, I don't think all that fancy stuff that Naz done was luck. But then again, Naz was quite hard to hit again, so it'd be quite interesting. But I think Pacquiao, with just how ferocious he was, he was a bull at lightweight, unbelievable.
I'd go Naz again, literally on punching power. A lot of people may disagree. I could see why as well, because Pacquiao, phenomenal, multi-weight champion, but Naz in his prime, he could knock you out with either hand at any angle. And there's, like, again, not many fighters can do that, very gifted. So I'd probably give, not a lot in it, but I'd probably give Naz the edge on punching power. He was a phenomenal puncher.
I'm probably going against the grain here, but I'm going to say Naz. I think when Naz was in his peak, so I don't really think Pacquiao was at his peak at featherweight. I think he was still growing and filling out, coming back from where he's probably malnourished, you know, being a kid growing up in the Philippines and stuff. So I don't ever think he got to his peak until about light welter or welter, whereas Naz, the punching power and the unorthodox style in Naz at his peak at featherweight, even though it was a short peak, he was phenomenal.
I think we'd have to go with Manny Pacquiao. Sorry, Naz. I mean, you know, world champion at so many different weights. How can you go against that? That's, you know, all-time greats. And but I think Naz was the way his career, you know, come to an end a little bit was a shame to see, because I think he's one of the best we've ever had by a long way, to be honest. Just the way his power and the way he handled certain opponents with ease, and it was a bit when he got beat by Barrera, the fact that he never really came back with a vengeance. I think he ended his career on a bit of a downer. Is that, without sounding too disrespectful, for the fighter he was and what he did and the talent he had, for it to peak out like it did, I thought it was a shame, because he was something else, you know. And I was very fortunate to box on his undercards, but I think we'd have to go with Manny Pacquiao, yeah.